How's it going? Usually I would say, welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook. I'd have a whole thing set up. But I've been having some issues going on in my life here lately. And so I've had a few friends that have been trying to help me out and trying to get me to start reading the Bible. Which I have here and there. But like, Timothy 3, 1 through 9, basically states that all morals in the end time are going to be exactly backwards, which makes sense to some of the questions I had in a few of my other videos. But what I read tonight in Matthew is blowing my fucking mind, dude. Like, Matthew, I guess, is the beginning of the New Testament. Because usually most of the stuff I read, is Old Testament shit, dude. And Book of Enoch, stuff like that, dude. Like, which is not in the... But he is a Jewish tax collector. And if you read the goddamn story, dude, I cannot believe that anybody keeps following this fucking bullshit. So, what I've done, because it's freaked me the fuck out, and I'm just so pissed off, I've decided to read you from a book that's even worse, dude. Even worse is what's going on, dude. Agenda 21, dude. Illuminati, NWO. I'm going to read this to you till I get bored, or, it just gets too long for it to actually be a YouTube video. I don't fucking know, dude. Here we go, dude. They took Mother away today. I was on my energy board when they came. They didn't knock. They just came in. Men in black uniforms, enforcers. I shut off my board and stumbled, hitting my hip against the metal sidebar. They didn't say anything, but held up their hands in a way that told me to stop and not come any closer. Whoa. Sounds like jail. Yeah, sounds like jail, dude. My meter, which if you actually check out Black Mirror, they have an episode during the first season that is exactly what this book fucking says. My meter was only halfway to the finish point. Mother had gotten off her sleeping mat when she heard them at the door and stood there, head down. How tangled her hair looked, gray and lifeless. They asked which sleeping mat was hers. She pointed to mine. I started to say, "No, that's mine." But she gave me a little shake of her head, so I kept quiet. One of them rolled up the mat and put it under his arm. The other one tied short, dirty ropes to Mother's wrists. I knew not to cry in front of the enforcers, but tears burned hot behind my eyes. They just took her fucking mother away. Imagine this. Imagine the world. Or imagine this world that we're in right now. They just walked in and said, "Hey, which one is yours?" The mother pointed just to save the daughter. Remember that. To save her own daughter, dude. The enforcers, tears, yeah. Mother hadn't done her duty walking since I was paired with Jeremy 2 days ago. Yeah, they pair people in the future. In the NWO, you no longer get to decide, well, I like this person, I like that person. You get paired with somebody and you fuck to procreate. That's it. That's all. Nothing else. Check it out. Mother hadn't done her duty walking since I was paired with Jeremy 2 days ago. She had stayed curled up on her sleeping mat, Her face to the wall, her back a row of bony knobs. I had walked both my board and hers those 2 days, so our meters would register a central authority for two people. That was the only way to get food for both days. That's the only way to get food. If they walked their boards or they rode their bikes, if you didn't get enough energy, and you'll find out later in the book, I'm probably not going to go that far. I'm just frustrated, pissed off, and I decided to read from this book. But the idea in the book and the idea of Agenda 21 is that you have to build enough energy for the elite, not for the community that you're in, but you build enough energy for the elite and they throw you a few fucking scraps. Maybe they could tell one person was doing two different meters because the meters registered at different times. Who knows? I've seen too many things over the almost 18 years I've spent on this earth to ever doubt the authority's power. You're born into a situation, you're born into a society, you're born into whatever, you're born into a jail. You're not really going to question it. Mother went quietly, shuffling her feet across the rough concrete floor. She looked back at me and said, "I'm sorry. I didn't teach you enough. ... I love you." What else is she going to say at that point, dude? They yanked her mother away from the child because the mother did not walk enough, did not pedal enough, did not do enough for the elite to give them energy or whatever the fuck they want. So now she's going to be destroyed. There was a scratchy sound to her voice, as though the words were stuck inside her. "I'm sorry, I'm alive." I didn't know what she meant, and I didn't have time to ask. The enforcers, fuck nuts, dude, one on each side of her, tugged on the ropes. She looked weak and shrunken between them. I watched though the window slit as they pulled Mother up to the steps of the bus box. The bus box, dude. We all know those, dude. We see them going down the freeway every now and then, dude. They are generally white and full of felons, dude, going from one place to another, from one jail to one court to, depending on what county they fucking did some shit, dude. Imagine everybody you fucking know. That's the only way they fucking travel. But RFB, I'm sorry, I digress. I didn't have time to ask. The enforcers, one on each side of her, tugged on her ropes. She looked weak and shrunken between them. I watched through the window slit as they pulled Mother up to the steps of the bus box. How trapped she looked. Sitting between them, there were 6 other men, large and muscular, in orange uniforms. Aha! I've been in county jail several times. They're always orange. Been in another county jail. They were striped, black and white. You go to prison, they're white because they want to keep everything clean. But there we go. They're stood in their harness. They're harnessed. They've got these people strapped down, just like they do. You're pretty much linked here. And they got chains going down. It's around your belt. And they got them on your legs. So you got to shuffle along. You can't really walk. And this is supposed to be a story of fiction. Remember that. This is a story of fiction. I watched until it disappeared around the curve past our compound. Compound. Remember that. Remember what we're reading. The compound. Then I ran after her. The gatekeepers didn't see me. He was making rounds at the far end. I ran as fast and as hard as I could along the ridge between the ruts and the dirt road. The muscles of my legs clenched and unclenching like fists until I could see the bus box. I slipped on the side of the road, crouching down, creeping closer. The bus box turned into a narrow road. Hidden by trees, I never knew that road was there. The green flag marking the area was barely visible. Beyond it was a building I had never seen before, bigger than any living space and deeper, darker gray than any other buildings. No window slits, just blank, forbidding walls. The bus box stopped in front of the building's only door, or the bus box only door. Through the trees, I could see the enforcers walking mother to the door. Dust swirled around her ankles as she shuffled. The odor here seemed familiar, but was much more potent. Mother still had the ropes in her wrist, and the enforcers were holding them tightly. She turned, looking at me as though she knew I had been following her the whole time, and somehow I was able to raise one hand to touch her chest, at her heart. The motion lasted only a second. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I had reached out and pulled Mother inside. The doors slammed shut, while the enforcers got back onto the bus. I hid behind a tree and watched until they disappeared. Then I leaned my head against the tree and I beat my fists against the rough bark until they bled. It's just the beginning, fucknuts. This is what we're going to face.